Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. In that way, I do think Caitlyn's being used as a pawn. Caitlyn didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. I would have been loved to have been spoken about just for my play. But nobody ever let us.
When a legend like Sue Bird stops cheering and starts calling out the system, people listen. And this time, she's not just speaking, she's exposing. The WNBA's obsession with going after Caitlin Clark is no longer speculation. It's war.
Bird. So Sue Bird has been speaking out a bunch lately, bro. Which she always speak out, but it seems like she's speaking out a little more than usual, bro. So she spoke about the physicality of the league. Now we know the league is very physical, and to the sense, she spoke about the former players that's in the league actually wearing these bruises like, scars and war wounds type stuff. Now
From the moment Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, she didn't just bring fans, she brought controversy. Skyrocketing ratings, sold-out arenas, and record-breaking merch sales should have made her the league's golden girl. Instead, she became the scapegoat.
Well, real quick, what did you notice about Caitlin's work ethic?
Yeah.
Was there anything that stood out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was in the gym constantly.
Yeah.
And it was the way she approached everything too was it was with a sort of excellence. It wasn't I'm just going to go through the motions and whatever. It was no, I'm here to kick your butt in every single drill, every single practice, and especially whenever our gray squad guys were playing against us, it was if you're across from me, you're my enemy, Right. And I think that's just kind of how you have to approach things to get better. And she had that, next level mindset, and it really just raised us all up with her.
Enter Sue Bird, 4-time champion, Olympic gold medalist, and respected voice in women's basketball. And now, she's had enough. In a now viral podcast appearance, Sue admitted Caitlyn's being used as a pawn in a much darker league-wide power game.
Sue Bird is now calling out Caitlin Clark's teammates because she believes Caitlin Clark's teammates have to do something. I've said this myself. Something has to happen in order to free up Caitlin Clark to be able to get some open looks. She's great at making sure everybody else gets great shots. All right? And she's pretty good at creating her own shot. But it seems and part of this too is Stephanie White and one of her failures. The inability to get open shots for your star.
While the league should be thriving under Caitlin Clark's spotlight, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert seems to be fumbling the bag. Players are fouling Clark with NFL-level force, and the commissioner? She's clapping from courtside.
You got to put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that. And there's going to be girls that think she's got to earn it and she doesn't deserve this early. She's handled it great. I think she's performed last year. She's performing again this year. I think she's the rightful face of the NBA.
Caitlin didn't ask to be the face of the WNBA. She earned it. But the response from veteran players? Less, welcome to the league, more prove you belong here. Sue Bird says the resentment is real, and it's getting dangerous.
I was hoping that video I sent about Caitlin Clark getting fucked over yesterday, too. God dang, dude. It wasn't that bad.
That was brutal.
Just she's purposely getting targeted, and I think you're 100% right. It's jealousy. There's nothing else. No, nothing else it could be. It's nuts. It's nuts.
It's so weird. You really don't see that in the men's game, but it's not at this level, and it's not that on purpose.
It's a pure jealous.
This is bigger than basketball. Sue Bird says the league punishes women who refuse to conform, who demand to lead. And now Caitlin's learning what happens when you rise too fast, without permission.
So a former WNBA player, a number 5 draft pick, I'll put her comment here. She was referencing Caitlyn being picked up full court. A lot of her fandom fans, I guess that's what I'll call them, says that, if she's not like the greatest ever, why are people picking her up full court? And this former player is saying most scouting reports say when you pick someone up full court, it's because they typically turn the ball over and they're not the best dribbler. They don't like the pressure. As we have seen throughout Caitlyn's pretty much her entire career, she has averaged not just a lot of turnovers, but more than any WNBA, NBA, NCAA, men or women ever.
Missed calls, blatant no calls. And now, fans are accusing referees of playing favorites against Clark. It's not just physical, it's political.
Amongst guards in the league. This was one of the more frustrating things I saw yesterday, because there comes a point to me when thinking about Caitlin Clark being ranked as the 9th best guard in the league by her peers. It is either delusion or it is jealousy. Because when you watch Caitlin Clark play the game of basketball, they don't treat her like she's the 9th best guard. They don't pick her up full court like she's the 9th best guard. They don't blitz her after she crosses half court like she's the 9th best guard. They don't double team her like she's the 9th best guard. They don't foul her as though she's the 9th best guard. So to rank her as the 9th best guard leads me to believe it is either delusion or it is jealousy. That's what I'm led to believe. I can't suggest that
Sue Bird isn't done. In fact, she's just getting started. She's now challenging the entire structure, saying the WNBA's old guard is threatened, and they're using every dirty tactic to keep control.
For a lot of America, Caitlin Clark is the hero, and everyone that flagrantly fouls her, speaks poorly of her, acts like she's not great, is the villain, and then vice versa. How big of a part of the story is that when you look at the conflict surrounding Caitlin Clark?
You would have thought that the arrival of this superstar in the WNBA would have been seen as what it is, which is the greatest thing to ever happen to the WNBA. So she arrives, and of course, my thought, a white woman from Iowa in a 74% Black league. That's an issue. And I look at the way players like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, Cheryl Swoops with her flurry of falsehoods, Cheryl Reeve, the Olympic coach, Gina Auriemma, really tried to minimize her.
Caitlin Clark didn't ask to be the revolution, but the system made her one. As she battles biased officiating, jealous rivals, and deafening silence from league officials, Sue Bird is making sure she's not alone.
The WNBA needs to learn how to manage this, right? They need to learn how to not just manage this rivalry, because honestly, I think a lot of this is just some less talented bitches who are trying to do this as a way to offset their lesser skill. Caitlin Clark is a gifted player. All these ladies are good players. But it is really bad sportsmanship to be some jealous bees on the court like this. And I also think, I don't want to put race into it, but I think for some of them it is race. Like Brittany Griner, she's an embarrassment to Baylor University. She gets out there, she calls her oh, you blank and white girl, all that stuff. Please.
When a WNBA legend like Sue Bird speaks out, the league listens. Or at least it should. But what happens when she exposes the dark truth behind the league's war on Caitlin Clark? This isn't just a feud. This is a full-blown rebellion, and Sue Bird just lit the fuse.
So we're going to talk about it today. What's your thoughts on all of the hate that she getting?
So as far as the hate goes, a lot of it's just unjustified, because anytime you make a major jump from college to the next level, you're always going to have a little bit of struggle. It's a big culture shock. So I think that's one factor you got to put into it.
What you mean by culture shock?
Now, if you watch most kids play now, what are they trying to do?
Shoot threes. Yeah, they try to shoot from 30 and look away for a go in the rim.
Because of how Steph Curry affected the youth, because of how he was shooting. Now you're having a lady who is showing women, hey, you can shoot from this distance. And now what that's going to do is that's going to create the younger youth also showing, shoot, I'm going to go shoot like Caitlin.
Sue Bird, one of the most respected players in WNBA history, didn't hold back. She called out the league for what she sees as calculated targeting of Caitlin Clark, not just on the court, but in the culture.
This is a public announcement. I need everybody to stop what they're doing and listen up. As we watch the WNBA every day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA, I love the way they play the game, but we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now, let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the...
Bird says Clark is being used as a pawn, and she's not alone. Many are calling it what it is: jealousy, racial bias, and league mismanagement. A culture that refuses to protect its biggest asset.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds. But it's interesting, for years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, the media is sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like. Iowa girl, Indiana girl. Well, who knows? And I've said this for years. When the wave hits, ride it. You don't know what it looks like.
This goes deeper than bad refereeing. Sue's message? The league has never known how to handle game changers. And instead of embracing Clark, they're trying to tame her. While Clark fights through blindsides, elbows, and being picked up full court every possession, the commissioner offers nothing but empty statements. And Sue Bird? She's had enough. Players are whispering. Fans are shouting. And yet the league? Silent. Even the All-Star votes revealed the pettiness. Clark ranked 9th behind her own teammates. So, who's really pulling the strings? Is this about protecting veterans? Or is it fear of a white rookie from Iowa becoming the face of a league that's been demanding attention for decades? And here's the twist. If the WNBA keeps alienating Clark, the real loser is the league. Overseas teams are circling. Ratings dip when she's out. And Bird says the commissioner's missing the forest for the flame. This isn't about race. This isn't even about basketball anymore. It's about control. Sue Bird is asking the one question nobody wants to answer. What if Caitlin walks away? The WNBA had the golden goose. But instead of building a nest, they picked a fight. Sue Bird's message is clear. It's time to lead or step aside.